What is up, guys? Dzeeff here. Welcome to day one of the brand new EX0 festival in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and I hate to say it so early on in the video, but this might be one of Master Duel's worst event ideas ever. Basically, this event is all about main deck cards only. You are not allowed to play an extra deck at all, and that might sound fine to some old school players that hate synchros and Xyz and link monsters and anything in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! But how this event is really going to play out, unfortunately, is it's basically going to have all of the decks that people have complained about in other events over the past 6 months, and those decks are now the main strategies to play in this particular festival. So we're talking about True Draco and Eldritch and stuff like that. Those are all still legal in the EX0 festival, as well as, of course, the brand new Fluanda strategy that most people don't like playing against in the ranked mode, so they're probably not going to want to play against them in a festival. Beyond that, we also have a really lackluster reward, in my opinion. So we have the Oracle Mahad for the monster art that you can earn here. This isn't a pet or a mate or an icon or anything like that. This is that main art when you like back out to the menu here and you can pick what monster you want showcased. I have the Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon showcase. That is all that you can really earn from here, besides like the little title from actually completing the event, and that's kind of lame. We'll get to the ban list in a second because I do want you guys to see that, but before we do, I wanted to mention, to me, this kind of seems like a worse version of what I think the classic event will probably end up looking like. So that was a leaked like event a while back. We haven't gotten it yet, of course, and we don't know what the rules will be, but presumably that'll be old school cards only, which probably will exclude synchros and Xyz and link monsters, but it'll also exclude things like True Draco and Eldritch and Fluanda if Konami knows what they're doing. With this one though, it's kind of like a halfway point. We don't have the extra deck monsters, yes, but we do have all those modern annoying archetypes that don't deal with the extra deck. So I think people are not going to have a great time in this, which is a real shame because this game doesn't get that many events. There's like, what, one a month, which is okay, I guess, but when this is your one event for the entire month, people aren't going to be happy, or at the very least, people that I've seen online have not been happy about this so far. Anyway, let's take a look at the ban list so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about, and you'll notice here that they didn't really hit the True Draco or Eldritch deck that much because, for better or for worse, if I don't think those archetypes are very fun to play against, it doesn't really matter because those actually are main deck focused strategies. They do make sense in this festival. I just don't think this festival probably should have been a thing. But here are the banned cards. You'll notice that of all of the banned cards, only 5 of them are non-burn related. So we have, first off, Inspector Border. Obviously this card should not be allowed in basically any festival. It's very unfun to play against. We also have 3 ritual monsters, Herald of Perfection, Herald of Ultimateness, and finally the Amorphactor Pain. This is kind of a weird choice to me because while the main phase 1 skip still does work in this festival, or it still would have worked, I guess I should say, you wouldn't really have gotten the value off of the negation effect for Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monsters. So I'm not sure if people would have actually played that card, but the only other like non-burn related hit is Imperial Order to 0, of course. Thank God. I mean, yeah, this card obviously shouldn't be legal in any format at all, but at least we are getting it banned in the festival event. But all these other ones are just self-TK or burn related in the case of the Time Lords. Yeah, there's just so many like burn cards that Konami keeps hitting for each of these events, which does make sense, but it might give the illusion that they gave more hits than they actually did when you look at this ban list, because it really is just those 5 non-burn hits here, which is kind of lame. For the limited cards, you can see that they've made a lot more relevant hits in this section than the banned section. So we do have some Endymion hits, for example. Servant of Endymion and Spell Power Mastery are both limited in this event. We also have 2 Megalith limits, so you might not be able to play Megaliths as well as you would be able to otherwise. We also do have a few True Draco hits, but not enough. So we have 1 Card of Demise, 1 Monarch's Erupt, 1 Skill Drain, and 1 of each of the True Draco trap cards. That might seem like enough, but because True Draco is so good at searching out their cards, and because they didn't restrict any of their monster cards, I doubt these hits will make a big difference. They've also limited a variety of field spells. We have Necro Valley, Zombie World, Black Garden, and Secret Village. These sort of like floodgatey type field spells that would be pretty annoying in this event. I don't know why they limited Zombie World other than to just prevent people from locking out Fluanda because Fluanda is brand new in the game, but that does seem like a pretty strange hit because you probably could have built a pretty fun like no extra deck zombie strategy if Zombie World is at more than 1 copy per deck. Maybe it's still playable with only 1 though, who knows. Mask of Restrict and Rivalry of Warlords are also limited. It seems like Konami is really trying to restrict players' ability to use Floodgate cards cards. And there's even Gravity Bind and Level Limit Area B, cards that have not seen play in Yu-Gi-Oh! For a very long time, but perhaps they thought without an extra deck these cards would be a bit too annoying. I'll say this, I think these limits are fine, it's just that I think there should have been more limits and or bans, because even if these hits are good, also we do have like this really random Pandora's Jewelry box card, semi-limited for some reason I can't figure out right now, but I think that they could have gone with these limits but just added even more. True Draco really should be restricted in more ways, especially when it comes to their monster cards. Eldritch is still pretty much at full power in terms of their actual archetype cards. Yeah, they won't have their 2 extra copies of Skill Drain, and yeah, they won't have Imperial Order, but they're still very good, they're still very annoying, and I really just don't know who this festival is for. I'm trying to figure that out, because old school players might think they want to play this, but then if they get into a couple of games against Fluandarees or True Draco or Eldritch, they might change their mind pretty fast. I think that a classic event would have been a lot better, but what do I know? I'm just a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel player. I don't actually pick the festivals or anything, but personally, I'm not that hyped for this event. I doubt they'll even play more than a couple games. I guess it just seems like this festival couldn't have come at a worse time, because it seems like people are already pretty down when it comes to the current format in Master Duel. People do not like Fluandarees, people do not like Sword Soul, and this particular event makes one of those decks, Fluandarees, even more popular. I mean, that must be like one of the best and safest choices to play in this event, and in my mind, I don't know what Konami is expecting from the player base here, because if people are already complaining about things like Fluandarees and Adventurer and stuff like that, are they really going to play a festival where those cards are featured heavily? I'm not so sure about that. Actually, I'm pretty sure they're not going to, but this just seems like a big miss to me. I'm trying to not be too negative here, but compared to the other events, this one just seems so poorly designed, and it really couldn't have come at a worse time. Also, I forgot to look at these when I was recording, but the loaner decks are pretty rough. This is pure Adventurer, which is funny, but not very good. You also have Fluandarees with 3 copies of Snoll and 3 copies of M-Pen. This is probably okay enough to get some wins. I mean, it only has 2 map, but realistically, if you open Rabina or Eaglin, you're probably okay. And then finally, you have a Machina deck, which looks fine. I mean, it's playable, certainly, but yeah, these loaner decks are nothing to write home about, and I feel like Konami is pushing players towards this Fluandarees deck, which realistically is probably the most hated deck in the format right now. But anyway, let me know in the comment section if you guys are going to play this event, and if you are going to play it, what deck are you going to try and build? Are you just going to default to Fluandarees or True Draco or Eldritch, or do you have a spicier deck that you're trying to come up with? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you later though. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.